Hello everybody, we are live on YouTube for another Championship Preview show. If you are watching live, let us know in the feed down the side. We are going to talk through all of this weekend's Championship games. We are at match week number 31 now, but it's starting to get a little bit topsy-turvy with the number of games played. So 16 teams have played 30, 8 teams have played 29, so we're starting to get a little bit of FA Cup hangover and people chasing hi guys in the feed. Two big movers last week, big weekends for Norwich City going to the top of the league, and Bristol City going into 6th position. 3-game week also needs to be factored in, and I think a few of these FA Cup ridden teams are going to get 2-3 game weeks in a row, so it's all starting to hot up in the Championship. Get your comments in on the game that I am talking about. So let's start off, as always, up the top. Match number 1. My God, Ipswich get to be in match number 1 for once, but it's the big one. Norwich City in first place versus Ipswich Town in 24th place. Oh my goodness me, how did it come to this? Although the likelihood is that by the time we get to Sunday and Norwich versus Ipswich kicks off, Norwich will no longer be in first place because Sheffield United and Leeds will already have played. Get your predictions in down the side. Don't worry about the scoreline, just go home, away or draw. I'm going to be at this game, so look out for the match review, obviously about 2:30 on Sunday. Huge win for Norwich at Leeds. If Daniel Farke had written the script for that game, it would have gone exactly how it actually did. Norwich, first attack, free kick, bang, top corner. Sit back, let Leeds onto them. Defend, but defend well. Bang, 2-0. Kill the second half. Bang, 3-0. It went absolutely perfect for Norwich last week. Check out my match review of that. Lots of people saying Norwich to win. Nick and Jeremy both on that one. Norwich, they've survived their run against the teams from the top. In fact, I'm doing them a disservice to say that that they survived, because they've got 8 points in the last 4 games. Leitner and Closer, we've talked about. They're not missing them at all. Vrancic is the PFA Player of the Month for the Championship. We think Leitner's going to be back, but I don't think they're going to use him. I think they'll be completely unchanged from what we can see. One part of the narrative is that Paul Lambert is returning to the scene of his greatest success as a manager, taking Norwich up 2 divisions and stabilising them there in the Premier League before going off to Villa. And he's returning now as Ipswich manager. Ipswich lost late to Sheffield Wednesday last week. Both their centre-backs, Wilf predicting Norwich for the win there. In the feed there, get your predictions in. I think Chambers will be back even if his arm is falling off. Not sure about James Collins. Look, very, very, very tall order on paper for Ipswich, but you never know. You never know. But if I were a betting man, I'm going nowhere near it. Scott's back in Norwich. Oliver's back in, Oliver's kind of with me. Norwich will either win 5-1 or Ipswich will somehow miraculously win 1-0 because of nerves or Derby ridiculousness. So check out that one on Sky TV. Ed says, can't see Farke changing settled team. No, I can't see him changing it either. Brumnav 2-1 Ipswich. My God, that would be the shock of the season. Nick says, I can't see Norwich not scoring. I think I just saw on Who Scored, Norwich 2.5 or over 2.5 goals in all of their last million home games or something there. So, bit mixed in the feed, but most people behind Norwich on that one. Let's go on. This is a big game as well. Borough versus Leeds. Borough in 5th, Leeds in 2nd. Get your predictions down the side, home, away or draw. Don't worry about the scoreline. Early kickoff, Leeds always on Sky. Chris says Leeds to beat Borough. Phillips back in. Hernandez, Forshaw and Klitsch injured. That's interesting. Mark is back in Leeds. Simon says hopefully Borough. Bradley says draw. Leather Sandals says draw. Leeds knocked off the top last week. Big move, but they are still level on points with Norwich on goal difference. Wilf says draw. Nick says fancy Borough to draw. Jamie says Borough 2-1. They've still got 3 points on Sheffield United, and if they're not going for really, who cares about who wins the title as long as you get up there in 2nd place. Borough to sneak it, says Alan. Draw, says Dara. Pressure on Leeds. Oliver back in Leeds. Scott back in Leeds as well. Borough players falling out with fans, says Angelo. Interesting. Bamford returned for Leeds last week and scored that consolation at the end. Douglas appeared in the second half, still waiting on Dallas, Berardi and Brown. Borough had a great win last week. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Borough scored 3 and came from behind. Does Asombalonga come back into the team? Because the caveat is they had a great win last week, but then they lost to Newport in midweek, and Asombalonga started that game. Leeds' record since Spygate is poor. They need to do something quick. That is very true. 4 defeats in the last 6. Lee says Blades top of the league by Sunday. Dara says 2-1 Leeds. Bradley says Asombalonga has a knock, so maybe Hugo will be starting. That's the great thing about doing this live. You get supporters of other teams. Sheldon, Leeds got too much pressure on them. They will bottle it because of history. Interesting stuff. Paul says wearing yellow on Sunday. Ben, absolutely not, Paul. I'm Ipswich through and through. Gested falling out there. Let's move on. As always with Pulis, interesting clash of styles. Can I say hello to my girlfriend Sylvia? Hello, Sylvia. Leeds, can Middlesbrough pick off Leeds in the same way Norwich did? Sit back, don't give them space in behind. We will see. If Borough do beat Leeds, they would be 4 points behind with a game in hand. So, would be very interesting if they did. Yes, thank you, Paul. That's more like it. Let's move on. Match number 3, and I'm going to be at this match. Villa versus Sheffield United. Get your thoughts in down the side, home, away or draw. Don't worry about predicting the score down the side there. Look out again for a match review on that, probably about 10:30 if I can get some data outside Villa Park. Dara says draw. Simon says Blades to win 2-1. Evil Adam says Blades. Sheldon says Blades. Andy says Blades. Nick says Blades. Yeah, a couple of comments that I'm not going to read out there. Blades kept the pressure up. They were in 2nd place for about an hour before Norwich beat Leeds last week. Standard 2-0 win over Bolton. McGoldrick and Sharp both scoring 30 goals for them, for the two of them. Brilliant from Sharp and McGoldrick, the old buggers up front there for the Blades. Be interesting to see, and we've got Blades fans in here, do you think Wilder is going to do what he did at Norwich and bring in Medine and Dowell maybe to soften them up? You might think, though, that Villa defence is easier to get at than that Norwich defence. Evil Adam says yes to Medine and Dowell. He's got options, and we haven't seen Hogan, although actually, no, I assume Hogan will be embargoed from playing. So, yeah, expecting to see Medine there, possibly. Loudenim, though, says no, same 11 as ever. Interesting. Villa, 1 win in the last 7. and that came at home to Ipswich, which is a bit of a gimme at the moment. However, will we see Grealish back? He makes a huge difference to Villa, holding the ball up there, and they just look more confident with him in the team. Big help for Dean Smith if he can do that. Should be a really open game with those two managers. So 0-0 incoming there. Let's see what happens again. Check out the review on that. Just want to put something out. Our defence has been much improved since Mings came in. Not going to talk about Mings because he's controversial at the moment. Grealish okay if he can stay upright. Yeah, lots of people don't like Grealish, but you must admit what a great player he is. And you know how people say you need a focal point up front to hold the ball up? You ping the ball into Grealish wherever he is in that 10 position and he will hold that up. Match number 4, Stoke versus West Brom. Another Tony Pulis derby here. Get me your predictions down the side. Stoke versus West Brom. West Brom went out of the FA Cup last night. They played extra time, but it was pretty much a reserve team. Draw, says Mark. Draw, says Dara. Away win, says Paul. Boing, boing. Big blow losing from that winning position last week against Borough. They'd be right on the chasing pack if they won 2-1. Can we come to this at the end? Everyone's saying Grealish is overrated. Overrated compared to what? I think he's a really, really top championship player. I didn't say he was Ballon d'Or. He's a really, really good championship player. So overrated compared to what is what I would say to the people saying Grealish is overrated. Overrated compared to Maddison, says Cam. Yeah, maybe right about that. 3 away games in the next 10 days for West Brom as their fixture hell kicks in. Let's see how they cope. Stoke way off the pace here. Nathan Jones has lost 4 out of 5 since arriving on 9th of January. Although he did beat Leeds. Oliver says, can I be a moderator, please? I don't know what that is. Send me a DM on Twitter, Oliver, and tell me what that is. Look at his goals and assists. Yeah, D-Jam, goals and assists aren't everything if you're a playmaker a little bit further back, and if you're holding, there's no stat for how many times you hold up the ball and let your team get up the pitch and play little balls around the corner. Alan says overrated compared to the 40 million Villa wanted. I probably agree with you, Alan, on that. I don't think he's worth 40 millions. Yeah, and Brumhav agrees with me. Lots of players have low goals and assists, but that doesn't necessarily make them a bad player. Certainly an interesting one. Us English football fans don't like flamboyant English players a lot of the time. Yeah, valuation not his fault, says Paul. John says he will leave for 15 mil in the summer. Who would I rather have, Grealish or Maddison? Difficult one. Both very good players. I'd like to have either of them. Both excellent. Couldn't play in the same team though. That just wouldn't work, would it? Let's move on to game number 5. Get your predictions in. It's Blackburn versus Bristol City at Ewood. Get your predictions down the side. Home, away win, or draw. Grealish is overrated compared to being underrated. There you go. Will says, great time to be a City fan. Casey Palmer to score. Thanks for Webster. I was going to mention Webster. There you go. 3-2 Blackburn. Blackburn good home team, says Cam. Draw. Blackburn bounce back. Looks like a draw, says Paul. Ben the Beaver says draw. Brizzle, Sidey to win and drink cider. The run began on 28th of November for Bristol City. They were in 14th place, 9 points off the playoffs, and now they are into the playoffs on goal difference, edging past Frank Lampard's Derby County. I've been a Lee Johnson skeptic, but you've got to be impressed with this. 3 years as a manager, they're top of the form table, and everyone telling me how brilliant Adam Webster is. Sheldon says 1-1. Harmon says Blackburn win. Andy says Bristol win. Brumhav says Blackburn win. Blackburn at home don't lose many. No, they don't at all. What's happened to Bradley Dack? He did score last week. Blackburn have surged out of mid-table into the chasing pack with those 4 straight wins. They were leading 2-0 at Brentford and got actually battered 5-2. They're absolutely pasting there. And due to this tight area in the middle of the table, they drop right down to 11th. So I think most people going with Bristol City in the feed there to continue that run, putting the pressure on Derby. Let's talk about Frank Lampard's Derby. Derby in 7th place will play Hull at Pride Park. Get me your predictions in home, away or draw down the side there. Derby versus Hull. I saw Derby last Friday at Preston and they found it hard going. Kyle says Derby win. Red Dog says a draw. They could have taken the lead in the first half and then a little tweak from Alex Neil. Hull to win, says Dara. Derby win at home. Hull to win, draw. This is totally mixed. Derby to win, draw. Matt says Hull to win. Big game, say the Derby Fan TV guys. Draw, says Simon. Totally mixed. Yeah, so I'll probably stick with a draw there. Harmon says draw. Hello, Cameron. I love you too. Ashley Cole and Andy King in the squad. Sky Sports made me laugh the other day. I was at Preston Derby and Ashley Cole's not even in the squad and they're doing a piece on Ashley Cole on Sky. They're so one-eyed with their coverage. Sheldon says 2-0 to Hull. Brumav says Derby win. Jack Marriott may be back. He was ill in last week. Problem with the ankle as well. I think they looked a bit light without Nugent. Obviously, as an Ipswich fan, I'd say put bloody Waghorn up front. Get him away from right-hand side of a 4-2-3-1. That doesn't work, but I know actually he did well from there for Ipswich. But it's not his position. Hull back to winning ways. They're in that chasing pack. All of those teams on 43 points. Bowen and Grosicki in superb form. Bowen was player of the month. Will Grosicki be this month? He's been nominated, or will Vrancic take that one as well? Hull very much capable of scoring at Pride Park. So the feed says, John says if Wilson plays well, Derby will win. Wilson hit the post twice, or post in the crossbar in that game. There, if Derby don't win and Bristol City win, can Derby keep up the pressure? Match number 7. Get your predictions down the side. Home, away or draw. QPR at home to Birmingham City. Blues ended a run of 6 without a win. They beat Martin O'Neill's Nottingham Forest 2-0. Paul says QPR at home to win that one. They pop straight back up to 8th in the table. Cam says a draw there, a scoring draw. Ed says Birmingham. Nick says QPR. Mark says Birmingham. Wilf says Blues. John, who is a bit of an expert, says Blues to win. Blacklisted Pigeon says Blues. Draw says Mr. H. Adams kept up his amazing scoring run. Che Adams, last 19 games, 13 goals and 3 assists. Sheldon says Birmingham. Simon says QPR. Brumav says QPR. He might be a biased Villa fan, I think, there on that one. How much is Adams worth now down the side there in the feed? I think they were asking 12 million. Definitely up there with Pookie and Sharp in terms of the goal scoring, but is he the highest valued one because of his age? John says David Davis back. Carl says great forward. Birmingham need to win, says Daz, if they want a playoff place. Still, I think 4 points back from Bristol City and Derby. QPR are the latest team to fall foul of all those tight teams with the points. They've not won in 5. I think they've lost. They drew 2 and then they drew 3. Paul says you must be loving this fantastic buying from fans across the country. Yes, I absolutely do. Absolutely brilliant. Everyone thinks I know loads about the Championship, and I'm just repeating all of the things that you guys say. So thank you, everyone, as usual, for joining, and I do love it. QPR won against Pompey, so I think McLaren fancies a bit of a cup run here. They've got Watford in the next round. QPR got a hard run here. Bristol City, West Brom, Borough, Leeds, all playoff teams, all close together. Could be a tricky one for Rangers, but then they could beat Watford in the cup. If you've seen QPR play, they're very good at sitting back and striking. Yes, we'll get on to Millwall in a minute. John says if he scores another 5 or 6, Birmingham will be laughing. Yes, they will. And I think Southampton were in, weren't they? They'll certainly be back with that Premier League money. Match number 8, Nottingham Forest in 12th versus in form Brentford. And get your predictions in home, away or draw down the side there. Martin O'Neill, 1 win in 3 so far, and the team and the style seems to be changing. None of Bonatini, Grabham, Carvalho, none of them started last week, and Forest drew a blank, so I'd expect 1, 2, or maybe all 3 of those guys in. Nick says Forest draw. Paul says Forest for no reason. Dara says Forest all day long. Mr. H says Brentford. I saw Brentford last week. Check out my review. Brilliant FA Cup game. Bees away win, says Andy. Simon says 2-1 Brentford. Bramav says draw. Sheldon says Brentford. 6 wins, 4 draws in the last 10 in all comps. 5 wins out of the last 6. Only that insane cup draw. Will says Forest win. Ed says draw. Ben, a Forest better or worse without Graben? They look really good with him earlier in the season. Let's see if O'Neill can get him in there. Oliver says bees are on fire. Nick says Forest win. 18 goals for Brentford in their last 5 games. And it's not just Mopai. Kanyos, Benrahma and Watkins, those wide guys, really chipping in. Thomas Flank has gone 3-4-3. John says he thinks Brentford will just outscore them at the moment. Remember, Forest, though, sell shitloads of tickets for their home games. Hard place to go. Do I think Forest will get in the playoffs, says Kyle. Can't see it at the moment unless Martin O'Neill gets on some mad kind of Alan Kirbishley style run at the end there. Let's move on. Match number 9. We've got some Millwall in here, I think. It's Swansea versus Millwall. Give me your predictions. Home, Swansea, draw, or away, Millwall. Never any Reading in the chat. I think we've had 1 or 2, Oliver. Please find us some Reading fans. Get them in the chat here. Swansea, 7-game unbeaten record ended at Bristol City. Trouble in the stands there. Simon says draw in this one. Hugh Jenkins steps down after 17 years as Swansea manager, stating recruitment problems. Swans win. Paul says draw. 2-0 Swansea, says Viper Gamer. Blacklisted Pigeon says Mill. Whoever scores first says John. Kyle, I think, says Swans. Bramav Swans. 4-3 Swans, says Cam. Andy says Swans. Millwall 1 defeat in 8 or 9, Angelo says. Ed says Millwall. What's going to come on to that? If you throw their FA Cup games in, Millwall are in really nice form since Boxing Day. Ben the Beaver says Millwall. Dave says Swansea. Nick says Swansea. 5 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat. They look pretty safe. And guys, hell has frozen over because Neil Harris is not playing 4-4-2 anymore. They've brought Ben Thompson back on loan from Pompey. Gregory's playing up front with him behind him. Yes, we thought Millwall would play 4-4-2. Ben Thompson, brilliant player. Millwall, a win against Swansea, upset the best players in January. That could be very, very true. Have they found a way of replacing the very overly influential Steve Morrison now by going for kind of 4-4-1-1, like Mowbray does with Blackburn? So interested to see Millwall again. I will be at Millwall on Tuesday. Millwall, Sheffield Wednesday. I think I've got that right. I'm going to loads of games next week, so we'll check that one out. Match number 10. Sheffield not playing 4-4-2. Someone locked Harris in the cupboard, says John. Hey, the times they are changing. Someone's asking me about 4-4-2. So if Millwall aren't playing it, I think Bristol City still play it, and Birmingham. I think they must be the only 2 now 4-4-2 in the Championship there, and they both have their ways of doing it. Birmingham with the deep midfield and the strikers, the wide players tucking in, and Bristol City with their press. So old 4-4-2 is dead. Rotherham don't though, do they? They never have 2 up the pitch. It's very kind of 4-5-1 with the wide players joining in, I think, and Volks in that hole. John says we changed it against Forest. Mr. H says Rotherham play 4-4-2. I've seen Rotherham twice. I can only say of what I've seen, and they haven't played 4-4-2. Other time they saw them, it's been a withdrawn midfield and only Big Smith up front. So, but if you've seen Rotherham play 4-4-2, I'm not saying you're wrong. Sheffield Wednesday versus Reading. Predictions in home, away, draw. Just quickly, the person who asked, is 4-4-2 outdated? No formation is outdated. It just, once all the people start doing it, you have to kind of follow, you just get outnumbered with everyone playing midfield threes. You saw how Norwich swarmed over poor old Forshaw against Leeds there. You can really get outnumbered in there. Wednesday win. Bannon says Paul. Dara says Wednesday. The Massive will batter them. I assume that's a home win. Will says Wednesday. Sheldon says 2-0 Reading. Fabian says 3-2. Steve Bruce gets his first win as Wednesday manager last week against Ipswich. Lucas Yao off the bench to get the win. Wednesday up to 38 points. Looks like 16 games for Steve Bruce to sort things out there before the end of the season. Reading did pick up 2 points last week, but they'll be really pissed off with that late equaliser against Bolton. That really would have set them up, given how bad the bottom three are. If you can get your noses out of the bottom three, the teams in there are so bad they probably won't outdo you. Shay Adams or Jack Clark, says Fabian. That's apples and oranges, isn't it? One's a tricky winger and one's up front. I'll have both of them. Who's my top six? We'll do that at the end. Reading without Nelson, says Ed. I know he'd had surgery and he was back at home earlier in the week, so we shall see. I don't know if he got a concussion as well with that smack in the head there from Tyrone's loose boot there. Martinez will be in though, and Miazga will be in at the back, making an impact there. Let's move on, Billy. Yes, we did QPR already, so spool back in the feed. I think you can do that live, can't you? Thank you, all the nice compliments I'm getting. Where are we? Match 11, Bolton versus Preston. Preston have sold 4,535. Will I give you a rendition of Marching On Together? Yes, I will. Steve Mann, the most unique player in the league. Yes, totally. What a completely weird player Steve Mann is. Good player, though. Saw Preston last week. They looked solid as ever. Tactically versatile as well. They went from 4-2-3-1 and put Gallagher around the side and kind of 4-5-1'd it. Bolton win just to ruin Sunday. I think Paul's got his Ipswich hat on there. Preston win. So Preston, yeah, big following. 8 points in the last 4. Good haul from them. Oliver says Preston. Andy says Preston. Bolton still struggling along in 23rd, but somehow, because of that early season home form, they're still only 3 points off Rotherham, but 6 goals behind. 1 win in 20 in the league for Bolton. That's even worse than Ipswich. Simon says Preston. Kyle says Preston. Mr. H says Preston to win. Bolton can't score. Although Luke O'Connell, yeah, look out for Luke O'Connell. He's only 17, isn't he? Bolton are dreadful. Can't see anything but Preston win, says John. Yeah, gnarly form from Bolton. Right, we're there. Match number 12. Last one. Oliver says Preston have 3rd best midfield in the league. He's talking about Pearson and Gallagher and Brown scoring all those goals. Certainly swarm it and certainly press well. Right, let's move on. Last one. We always get a bottom 6 clash. All bottom 6s. Rotherham in 21st versus Wigan in 19th. Rotherham are quite good at these games here when they're pitted down the bottom there, and typically over this season Rotherham are good at home and Wigan are not good away, so I give Rotherham some chance in this one. Wigan have had 2 wins in the past 4, which down the bottom there is amazing going. Nick says Rotherham, Billy says Rotherham, Will says Millers to win. And they don't pick up points away from home, Wigan, do they? They look comfortable, 7 points clear, 16 to play. Paul says Rotherham, Tim says Rotherham, Simon says Rotherham, Dylan says Rotherham inconsistent, Carl says Rotherham. They're a point above the drop, Rotherham, thanks to all those draws in autumn. In their home games against the bottom teams, they beat Millwall, they beat Ipswich, they drew Rotherham, and they drew Bolton. So it doesn't look like Rotherham are losing this one. Can they pick up the win and really, really shaft Ipswich and Bolton if they do that? Lot of people, Wigan have to win, that's from an Ipswich. Draw, says Dylan. Barry says we need Wigan to do it for us. Ping some questions up there. We've done all the games now. These are the ones that came through on the YouTube chat. Kane says, why are people writing off Hull out of the playoff race? If you've watched this last 2 months, there's literally no one better. Yeah, we shall see. Can they keep the run going? Certainly Grzycki and Bowen, definitely, along with Ben Rama and Canos at the moment. Striker. So yeah, I don't think anyone's writing you off. It's just a long way back, Kane. Stephen says, it's Borough Leeds Saturday, going to be one of the best atmospheres in the Championship. How do you think the Borough players will respond? I think they're going to try and shithouse it because Tony Pulis is their manager. Tim, we did the derby at the start. Might take a bit of a miracle, but miracles do happen. Robert, PNFC, says, who do you think will be the dark horse in the Championship? Well, weirdly, I think Middlesbrough might be hiding in plain sight. Everyone thinks they've dropped off. What happens if Borough go on a run? They could be in an automatic chase there. So maybe Borough are the dark horse. Adam says, do you think we, Ipswich, will survive the drop? They can, but it's going to take a miracle at the moment. Massive swing. And as I keep saying, Last 2 games for Ipswich: Sheffield United away, Leeds at home. Dan says, praised you on Twitter yesterday. You are a yellow and you know it. Right, I'm not a yellow. I'm just have the ability to be neutral and not hate Norwich when they're playing well. But thank you for all of the praise. People need to understand you can go to a football match as a neutral. Just park your Ipswich fandom or whoever fandom. You can be a neutral. Haha, triggered. I don't know if he's talking about me there in the feed. Tom, do you think that the transfer deal renegotiation with Dan James going to Leeds in the summer or true? Well, it looks like he really wants to go, Dan James, to Leeds, so that could well happen. Well done, Ben. Thanks, Webster. Get any questions in. When do you think Ipswich season will end? Stoke, hopefully not, because Blue Monday live. You do neutrality, brilliant. There you go. There you go. I just love good football. Norwich happen to be playing some good football. I'm not going to lie. Honestly, I can't do that. Stop it. Stop it now with the yellow stuff. I'm Ipswich through and through. So 2 games this week, and Aston Villa versus Sheffield United. Some questions coming in here. What's my preferred top 6? Would have Ipswich in it, but there you go, preferred. They all keep disappearing. Put your questions back in. Sorry, I missed it. I was going to plug Villa Sheffield United. Look out for match review. Day off on Saturday. Norwich Ipswich on Sunday. Match review. By the way, I'm the Switzerland of football coverage. Does that mean I like cheese and gold watches? He's talking about neutrality, isn't he? I'm going to do the live feed on Monday night because I'm going to be obviously driving to Norwich on Sunday morning. So look out for that on Monday night. I'll put a reminder up on Sunday. This is the game Lambert thrives on. Could be a turning point. Cannot wait tomorrow night. Hope Villa can get an upset. You going QPR v Watford next week? No, I think where am I next week? Oh, Ipswich Stoke and Blue Monday live. Do I think Ipswich should get promoted straight away if they get relegated? If they don't change their manager and sign 100 players, they have a chance. Millwall underperforming this season, Ben? I don't think so. I think they were just so brilliant last season. They've regressed a little bit to the mean and need to maybe regroup. Favourite team this season, mine is Sheffield United and Leeds. Sheffield United have been really good to watch, haven't they? 3-5-2. Off to a game Tuesday. Yeah, I think so. And then Ipswich are playing Derby on Wednesday night. Loads of content. Really, really looking forward to all of that. Thank you, everybody in the feed. Absolutely brilliant. Ben says, Joe Lolly, another 4.5-year deal. Yeah, that's going to boost his... what fans am I with on Sunday? Are you there, Paul, on Sunday? I shall see you there if you're there. Come on, Ipswich. No, they're all going to. What are you going to do next season if Ipswich get... No, I won't do a League One chat next season. I'm the man. Keep it real. No, still be Championship chat. Someone said late goals cost us. Late goals cost everybody, though, don't they? Hey, thanks, Ben. Hope you lose heavily on Sunday. Lovely stuff. Right. Thank you everyone for watching. Look out for all of the match reviews, and the feed will be Monday night, Blue Monday podcast on Sunday. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm going to hang up now, and we'll see